Right, Islay Access Community Access Group represents the whole of Islay, and it's there to improve the quality of life of the community by providing access to the countryside so they can have recreation and exercise. Also, we're very interested in improving the education of the environment and cultural aspects of the island, and our present project is the South Islay Distillery's Pathway, which we have just started to build and which will occupy us for the next year or so, and its length will be about 7 kilometres long.
Okay.
South Islay Development are a charity and company limited by guarantee based in Caldaltmano, which is the traditional parish covering Portellen and the surrounding villages, about up to the airport. And we work on delivering and initiating, encouraging community projects that work to develop the social and economic welfare of the area. Well, it's a project that's had a lot of support from the local community, and that's something, in everything we do, it has to be led by the desires of the local community. So we've certainly always been keen to support it as part of that, and are working with Islay Community Access Group to try and help them to deliver the project. But we're also running this heritage project just now under All Our Stories, and it's an oral history project, and as part of that, we think there's a lot of potential to link in with the path and make it a more interpretive experience for the people using it.
This rock is the blue stone, and it was cut to make the milestones for the walkways right up the country and on the rest of the island as well. And there's 2 stones cut behind the wall which we hope to use in our new pathway. Also, the stone was cut for lintels and for backfill for the pier in Portellen. This area is known as Ballyneal. Some people call it the Field of Blood. In this area here, the agents for the Lord of the Isles collected the rents from the tenants in the village, and if they were unable to pay their rents, either in money or kind, they unfortunately were murdered. One of the tenants, called MacArthur, was standing waiting to see the agent and knew what was happening inside the buildings, and he took off, and the story is that he fled across the hills up onto the Sound of Islay, and he got a small boat at MacArthur's Head Lighthouse, which was called because of this is where he fled from Islay across to Kintyre through Jura, and was saved. The field has been ploughed many times, but every time the farmers tried to plough the field either with horse or with tractor, the ploughs were broken, so it's never been ploughed since then.
People still live in crofting townships elsewhere, particularly in the Ridds, for example. But here, people very much gravitated into the new village of Portellen. So that process would have started in the 1830s. The village was planned by Campbell's, Fred layers of Ireland, to encourage industry and to encourage people to move from places such as Torridale, Ballyneal, and move in and free up the lands for larger farms. That was the plan, so that the more rent would be paid to underlayered for the use of the land. Campbell was very supportive of the people, so at a time when folk were being cleared off in other places, in forced clearances, that wasn't happening so much on Islay, but people were being encouraged to move. So huge numbers left for North America in particular, and for the mainland of Scotland, to take up jobs in industry there as well. But he tried to encourage industry such as herring, tile making, weaving, all sorts of things.
This was one of the homes of Duncan Johnston. It wasn't his first home, but he would have been a little bit older. He was actually born further up the road in Lagavulin. Now, Duncan Johnston was a well-known bard in this island. He was born in 1881, and he went to school at Ardbeg, and after he left school, probably at 14, and he went to work with his father on the roads as a road maker, making roads in up where he stayed at Lagavulin. Quite early on in his life, it was noticed that he was good at making songs, particularly Gaelic songs, because Gaelic would have been his first language. The First World War came, and he went to war, and he was a sergeant in the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders. He was gassed quite badly in World War I, and this malady never left him. He was like that and died about 66 years of age in 1947, and this was due partly to the gassing. Yes, he was crowned as the bard. The Maud has a crowned bard every year, and sometimes they can't find anyone who is able to say a poem, a long poem, and that they have either written themselves. Yes, they have to write it themselves, but he did, and it's in this book, and he was crowned Bard of the Maud at Perth in 1929. The poem is called Donialach, to the moon. In 1938, this book was published. It's called Cranan Anton, the Murmuring of the Waves, and it contains a lot of very nice songs, very good songs, and there's a new edition out, and this can be bought in Roy's, and if you would like to buy it, it's not frightfully expensive. It's a little more than 7 and 6, but it's quite nice for you to have if you're keeping some memorabilia about your visit. The songs are sung everywhere and are used a lot in the Maud. With arrangements, they're used 4-part harmony, and there's a beautiful song called Turag nan Train, the lament for the brave, and the brave were from the First World War, those who didn't come back and those who did come back.
What we're looking at here, looking down south from Islay, over the ruins of Dunuvig Castle, which was the last stronghold of the Clan Donald in Islay. So that was the defensive site, as opposed to Finlagan, which was the ceremonial site. MacDonalds were holding out in Dunuvig, and the Campbells had been granted the lands by the king under grace and favour. So they were trying to oust the MacDonalds who were hanging in there, and this plateau was set up for the cannons to bombard the castle.
The house is still
called
the
here
plateau?
is still known as the plateau.
The castle of Danuvig was a MacDonald stronghold, and it was taken by the Campbells. The Campbells, the MacDonald chief was, I think he was in Argyll somewhere and heading back via Creenan, and the piper had arranged to play a warning tune. So the warning tune was being played repeatedly as MacDonald approached Danuvig to warn him off, and the Campbells actually cut the piper's finger off to stop him playing the warning tune.
And this is one of the songs you're singing.
We're singing, it's called Colmaroon,
right,
and it's telling of MacDonald coming to Islay and the piper playing the tune, telling him to keep away, oh Hala, and that's the warning, keep away, keep away.
When I was wee, we used to scramble about these places, and I was up here with family and friends, and my cousin, just on this spot here, found a quarter of a cannonball, which must have been probably used in anger against the MacDonalds here, and standing here just at the sea gate into the castle. So it was pretty evocative at the time, quite exciting for young folk, and I understand he still has the quarter cannonball, so we're working on getting that back to the island.